Hello, everyone. Raphael Devra here at Atrium. I'm glad to be talking with Atiti today um, with the Para team. Para team is another one of our founders' perks here, where we want to help developers build long-lasting applications and applications that users want. Para has a universal embedded wallet that brings all the it unfragments liquidity and transactions all in one place. So please, Atiti, please take it away.
All right. Thank you for having me. Really excited to be doing this presentation for you all. And I hope this kind of serves as one, just an intro to the world of wallets and how far we've come as a space in terms of how we've been thinking about wallets and onboarding. And then we'll, of course, touch on Parasuite and how this plugs into hooks and liquidity more broadly. Great. You see my screen? Cool. Um, I should have done this in Figma slides, but I did this as just a Figma set of images. So hopefully should be good. Um, great. In terms of today, going to be focusing on Para, our kind of wallet and authentication suite. And then we'll also deep dive into kind of the general landscape of how we got here and what you can expect kind of here on out. This talk is, of course, for folks like yourself, founders, builders, early stage teams. A little bit about me. I joined Para on the founding team in 2022, late 2022, have been kind of through the journey since then for the last 3 years. I'm heading up business and operations, really focused on chatting with teams on how we might best serve them. Um, and yeah, just thinking a little bit about that pretty deeply. What we do is we are a wallet and auth suite for crypto applications. This means you get the best of both worlds. You can use our SDKs to onboard both Web 2 and Web 3 audiences. So via socials, via external wallets like a MetaMask or a Coinbase or a Phantom. Um, with that and the developer tool angle, you get things like customizable security. So being able to set not only fiat on and off ramps for your audience, but being able to set 2FA on wallets or removing 2FA on wallets or using features like guest mode, kind of configuring the level of security that is needed on a wallet, depending on the kind of application you're building. Um, we also think a lot about cross-chain support. So obviously support the EVM, Solana, 100 other chains beyond that, Cosmos, Unichain support is also kind of out of the box, which is exciting. And then our kind of secret sauce is really on the universal wallet side of things. So what we do is we make email wallets reusable like SSO. So I can get into a little bit about why that's important, but what this looks like is if your users are taking the effort of on-ramping funds into their wallet the first time, they should be able to reuse those funds in different places. And so making that possible through a cryptography technique we call distributed MPC. Um, Great. And so what's the point of all of this? Wallets are, of course, were initially a way to represent ownership on chain, sign transactions, interact with the blockchain. We had early iterations of this with MetaMask and similar wallets in that category. But we talk a lot about like why we need to be onboarding the next billion users. And the para question here is you want to onboard the masses, but to what? You want to make sure the onboarding experience is easy, but also you want to make sure that you're onboarding them into a sensible kind of default. And I don't think we've had too much of that in the space today. And so our real question when we think about the wallet space is, yes, of course, you want to onboard the masses, but we would really want to be intentional about what we're onboarding them to. Um, and so the journey of how we got here, there's been a variety of wallets in the space. So there's, of course, the wallets like MetaMask, Phantom, et cetera, that really sit on this side of the spectrum, being the most kind of decentralized options out there. And then there's, of course, centralized options like custodial wallets that just kind of hold private keys in their database and kind of manage wallets for users. And so the journey has really been interesting in terms of how the wallet landscape has grown, especially when thinking about onboarding tools and making kind of that user experience much easier. So quick breakdown of this has been, you have, the MetaMasks of the world that are these really, really decentralized primitives that have been around for super long. You have things like Safe, which are sort of an intermediary where they're still decentralized, but you have maybe multiple parties kind of collaborating on a signature in a multi-sig setup. We've had things like smart wallets. So Argent was kind of the first iteration of this back in the day. And then we've had the category of products, which I call embedded wallets. So these are, tools like Magic Link, Privy, etc. These are tools where you can abstract away the signing of transactions and wallet management to directly an application. So this kind of category made it possible for apps to really own that user experience and really make it possible to not force your users through MetaMask and like write down a seed phrase. Raphael and I were just talking about that before this. It's really difficult to not only grow as an app, but also force your users to go through something like a MetaMask. And so this category of maybe more centralized wallet tools were really, really important in getting to where we are today with the space. And so I'll walk through what each of these kind of brought to the wallet space. But when you kind of scratch the surface a little deeper on all these different tools, you hear all these terms. You hear seed phrases, you hear passkeys, you hear OAuth, you hear MPC, HSMs, TLS, account abstraction, OTP, and it's all very confusing and murky. And so this is an attempt of breaking down that this kind of spectrum that I showed you and kind of pull out some of these terms and go into a little bit more depth of why you might use some of these tools. And so first, we just started off with like basic kind of threshold cryptography. This was the burner wallet. So for those of you that have heard about this, Austin Griffith did a big push around burner wallets at, I think, like the 2018 or 2019 ETHDenver. But this was basically super easy wallet creation. Your private keys are just kind of sitting in the browser. And you're able to kind of send and receive money really easily. This was great for the conference use case, but this happened to me a lot. I would like maybe get into an area at the conference where my Wi-Fi was really bad and I would just refresh and all of a sudden my wallet is gone. So really fragile, really unsafe, but great for trying out apps. So this was like the first kind of part of the wallet journey. This was around, when MetaMask was super popular and like people were kind of getting around to the idea of like, okay, MetaMask is great, but I really want to own this user experience. Like, how can we make this process of transacting on chain easier? And so the burner wallet, it was great, but it was, just a little fragile. And so people liked it for the conference use case and it kind of died out. Next, in the progression of the wallet landscape, we got into what if you threw OAuth on top of it? So what if you added the ability to sign in with Google, sign in with Apple on top of that? And maybe, the exact way that the burner wallet was architected was maybe not the best way. Can we do this in a way where the keys are less fragile, but you also add the familiarity of sign in with Google, sign in with Facebook, sign in with Meta? Voila, you get to custodial wallets. So this is things like Fireblocks, where maybe NBA Top Shot it was going on at this time, and you needed an easy way to sign in with email, create a wallet in the background, and trade. And so this era of crypto was really, can we make the process of transacting on chain as easy as Web 2? But of course, there were trade-offs. So this was Web 2 style creation, a little bit more centralized. You just had a single point of failure in many cases. These were, of course, custody solutions, but less fragile. If I refresh my Top Shot app, my wallet's not going anywhere, which is really great. I can do it on mobile, I can do it on desktop. And this kind of setup is still very good for kind of low risk single app experiences. So I want to transact on Top Shot, I'm able to buy these cards, really good for that. Where these experiences kind of break is as soon as a user wants to use that wallet in a different place, you now need to figure out how to get the wallet reusable in another app, which typically didn't happen in apps like Top Shot. So kind of worked for that use case. Then we get to Passkey World. This has been hot for the last 2 years. Passkeys have been adopted by major Web 2 companies. Coinbase has adopted passkeys. and of course there's crypto has adopted passkeys as well. But basically, passkeys are a standard that removes relying on a password and actually just allows you to enter biometrics. So this is the same thing as like Face ID, Touch ID on your devices. Um, and so we get into embedded wallet world. Um, Around 2021, 2022, there was a lot of work done in the MPC world, multi-party computation world. Um, Multi-party computation just stands for a cryptographic primitive, a technique where you take a private key and you cut it up into different parts, and you're able to kind of do wallet management through that. And so there were different kind of flavors of MPC that came out around then. Namely, Shamir secret sharing was pretty big in that era. This is leveraged by tools like Web3 Auth, Privy, etc. This is leveraging MPC plus OAuth plus passkeys. So you get into this world where you can do wallet creation in an application, you can transact, you can sign things, you can use a passkey, Touch ID. These are all primitives that by this point people were really familiar with. Seeing that, Google is rolling out passkeys, this wasn't like a foreign concept to a lot of people. And so this world gets you super easy wallet creation and login, pretty decent security. If you refresh your wallet's not going to go anywhere. You can use it across devices. But they are siloed to an app. So you don't get that MetaMask style experience of, yes, of course, once you go through all the friction, you can use your MetaMask wallet everywhere. You don't get that. And so with embedded wallets, this was a kind of standard problem through the space for a really long time. How do you make the Starbucks NFT experience composable? Meaning Starbucks NFT launched, people could mint these NFTs, use them in stores, but all of a sudden, if I wanted to maybe list it on OpenSea, that is a much harder problem. I now need to export my private key, stick my private key in a MetaMask. So now I need to graduate somehow to like a MetaMask, and then list this NFT. So that kind of broke. This also happened with things like Reddit also did a run of NFTs with Polygon, and that also similarly kind of broke in a similar way. And so this category of products was also really big in 2021, 2022. So there's a bunch of players that also kind of think about stuff in a similar way. Magic Link is another one as well. And then you get into this world of distributed MPC. So what if you could not only split a private key into different parts, but also do things like distributed signing and distributed key generation? And what if you could also add things on top of it, like refreshing shares at any point? You get into really cool kind of primitives in the distributed MPC world. And so this is what we do. So we leverage distributed MPC, passkeys, and of course, OAuth. And you get this primitive that we like to call universal embedded wallets, where all of a sudden now your UX on the centralized side is Web 2 style, easy to use, click to transact, embedded in the background. But you also get some of the decentralized primitives of reusable across apps. Really good in terms of liquidity management, because once you on ramp in one wallet, you can use it again in another app. And you get this notion of SSO. And we also add things like permissions on top, which I'll get into in a little bit. But you get this world of the best of both worlds, where your wallet is now composable, but it's still easy to use. So we like to think about this paradigm as really good for kind of full ecosystem or network experiences, which we found in DeFi and in crypto. Everyone is really trying to build composable experiences. And so that's where universal embedded wallets come in. So this is social login, passkey, wallets created, transact. And of course, you can connect an external wallet if you need it.
That's really cool.
Oh, go ahead.
That's like really cool. Just take a few steps back. I forgot about like NBA Top Shot. That feels so long ago.
Yeah.
Goodness. But yeah, everything was
Yeah.
siloed and you just forgot about it. Reddit over there, they did their thing.
You
You
just
just
forget
forgot
about it.
about it. You just can't trade
And
it. It's not as composable as you said. And now we get we finally are meeting people where they are, where we can do our DeFi and do our transactions, but also have our lovely uh, familiar UX here. Like that's perfect.
Yeah, and I think a lot about, if you think about companies like Uniswap. Uniswap acquired Genie during OpenSea frenzy. Why? Because they saw all their users degenning on OpenSea. MetaMask added swaps. Why? Because it was DeFi summer and everyone was like swapping on Uniswap. Um,
Right.
right. And so and I think we all being in crypto have seen this firsthand, when you have composability, you just get better insights about your company. You're able to see, what are people really doing on chain? Where are they going with this identity? What are they doing? Um, and I think you're able to make better decisions as a business, uh, than not have that data. And so that's kind of that's kind of why custodial wallets are really interesting in this journey of wallets, because custodial wallets kind of are great for this kind of web 2 style, like, oh, we're a web 2 org, we're taking a bet on crypto and
Yeah.
spinning up
Play it safe.
wallets. Yeah, but a lot of times those wallets, like, people actually want to do things with those wallets, and they actually want to maybe list those NFTs or use those NFTs to gate a group chat. There's kind of a
Right.
whole full flywheel experience that you miss out on when that identity is siloed. Um, so we think about it a lot like email, where it's like your email, your identity should be as fluid as email, and you should be able to kind of build clients on top of it, which is why you
Right.
have, login with Google made Superhuman possible. Why? Because Superhuman didn't need to bootstrap their growth. They just added sign in with Google, and then a bunch of people SSO'd in. And so you get kind of interesting primitives, when you think about the wallet space like that. Or at least I think that's interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah. And so distributed MPC, which is different from Shamir secret sharing and just kind of normal threshold cryptography, also allows us to do things like permissions and modular account abstraction. So permissions, this is when shares are distributed or generated in a distributed manner, and signing can happen in a distributed manner. You can actually layer on top a permissions framework with that setup. So you can maybe add transaction limits, or you can add 2FA, or you can add automations. You get into a really interesting world with that. And then, of course, we know the world is moving on chain. And so anything related to account abstraction, 7702 is also pretty modular, out of the box. And so the idea is, you want your user to try your app easily. You don't want to push them through a seed phrase. So create an ephemeral wallet for your users to get started. We also have thoughts on progressive onboarding, where maybe your users don't even want to go through social login. They just want to like try it out as a guest, which is a common paradigm in Web 2. Sometimes you check out as guest, or you just like log in as a guest. Why not make that possible in the crypto world as well? So sometimes people will just log in as a guest. Um, you add your Web 2 account and then secure your wallet at the point of when you get assets in it. So we've thought a lot about, yes, of course, universal embedded wallets is like the end state of where we want everyone to get, where you have a social login wallet and you can reuse it everywhere, but also offering kind of flexible defaults in the case where maybe I don't even want to go through social logins. I want to have this like burner wallet flow where I create an account and maybe I only set it up if I actually care. Um, and so kind of offering defaults there where, okay, you have $10 in your wallet, maybe you should secure your wallet. Um, Maybe you should add a passkey and upgrade your security. So kind of offering these like progressive defaults as people work up to universal embedded wallets. Um,
It feels
yeah.
like a
So
gateway drug. You're slowly like, yeah, you can do this. It's all really normal. It's all what you know. Now you're really, before you know it, you got your
yeah,
embedded wallet. You got all your different types of wallets, and you're everywhere across the Web3 ecosystem. But this is a really safe
exactly.
and controlled environment.
Yeah, you can even link like external wallets to your para universal embedded wallet. Like you can kind of be pretty modular. And it also gives us flexibility with things like hooks and other DeFi primitives. Like everything can kind of just plug in depending on when it's needed. That's the biggest thing we've learned is like some users, like they actually pretty much want a burner wallet. And like
Yeah.
that's cool. But allowing them to maybe at a certain point of value set up a passkey, like get more security on the wallet, because why secure your wallet if you're not even sure you're going to try out the app for more than a day? Um,
Right.
and then obviously the advanced case is permissions. So being able to add permissions on certain kinds of transactions, being able to add 2FA, auto transact in the background. Again, this is just for more kind of advanced DeFi use cases. We found that this has been exciting to teams. And so like abstracting it all away, like take it all away, in our opinion, is not the right goal. We think if we just abstracted it all away, we'd get into custodial wallet world, which we don't want to do that. We're fully non-custodial and believe in that future. Um, but the right goal is kind of getting people to the right place when they want to on this spectrum. So if you want the, burner wallet flow, offering that default. If you want the full kind of, we have a partnership with MetaMask as well, where Para accounts are natively supported in MetaMask. So if you want that and you want to manage your Para account out of MetaMask, having a path to do that in the most decentralized way. And so um, the way that we've thought about wallets is offering the right crypto or cryptography at the right time, given a use case. And so just having sensible defaults when things make sense, because we found that things really might make sense to us, but to our customers, like sometimes you do want the most decentralized experience, or sometimes you do want the most centralized experience, and having that spectrum for people. But the way that wallets have kind of evolved over time definitely influenced the way we thought about the product. So yeah, that's all for today. I can share more thoughts here, but that was the end of my talk.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. This is cool. This is like where a lot of apps are. And the app I'm working on, we're kind of like an investment app where it's like
Mm.
dollar cost averaging. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like long-term investment retirement type of app. And we want it to be open to everybody. So recently I was like, we need to figure out a way to like make this super seamless. Currently it is
Yeah,
not. You need to have a MetaMask, gotta have your seed phrase, all these hard barriers for normies to get over. So it's like, all right, we gotta meet them where they're at. So Paris seems super cool where we can meet them where they're at, but also educate them and try to edge them to be more involved if they want to and get more into
yeah,
DeFi.
yeah.
Speaking of that too, or I'll let you go before I
Oh no,
continue. Uh,
you're good.
is there any like on-ramping type of deal like with um, Coinbase per se, or any way to like get users from that? I don't even want to deal with crypto like, really. I just want to transact with dollars.
Yeah, so we bundle in on ramps. So there's Stripe, Ramp Network, and MoonPay. So depending on your preference and how you want people to kind of bring funds on chain, um, they can bring funds on chain through that. And then of course there's also external wallet login. So let's say you actually want users to come in with their MetaMask accounts, or maybe you want certain users that have interacted with a certain smart contract to be able to use your app. It is kind of nice to have them log in with their Phantom, MetaMask, whatever, Uniswap wallet, and then even provision an embedded wallet for that. So using that as auth. So we even offer defaults like that. So let's say you just want your existing MetaMask users to log in, you can let them log in and create an embedded wallet for the app connected to that wallet. So that way it's still, no pop-ups on transactions. It's still recoverable. It's still like easy to use, but it's still linked to that kind of identity that has more transaction state to it. Um, that happens a lot with our users as well, where they actually do want those users with existing funds to come in, but then have an embedded wallet created for them later. And so on ramps for sure. Also doing a bunch on just like chain abstraction in general, like making that experience like even more simple if possible, and thinking about how liquidity moves between chains. Like because Para is universal, we have a lot of users coming in from Solana, and then all of a sudden they're like now transacting on Base. Like, how do you get that liquidity to move really easily without forcing a user to bridge or like go through
Yeah.
complexity? Is also, yeah, something we've talked about.
Yeah, take away all the friction. Um, I guess I think we kind of talked about it, but the other friction point is all the approvals, and we have what 7702 came out, was supposed to help with some of the approvals, and account abstraction kind of helps as well. Um, how does Para help on that front?
Yeah.
Like how does that get abstracted away in Para?
Yeah, so you can use Para plus 7702 or 4337. We actually have people doing this live right now where you connect a Para wallet as a signer to a smart account. And so the smart account does the gas abstraction, does the bundling transactions, all of that. And you get this unified signer that's attached to it that can be used cross-chain, cross-app. Because a lot of the times with account abstraction, what's tricky is sometimes certain chains have certain account abstraction specs. And so the wallets are actually different cross chain. And so with an MPC signer, you get that unified experience, which is nice.
Yeah, cool, cool. I gotta dive in a little deeper and test out.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll send, is there a way for me to send, if helpful, I can send this deck. I can also send materials, like whatever is
yes,
helpful, like docs.
yes, please. Yeah. That was gonna be my last question is like what's the fastest way me as a developer to build and get something tested?
Yeah. So developer.getpara.com is the dev portal. You can create an account. There's a free offering. You can get started, try it out. Our website, getpara.com, is also a good place to just kind of look through like what we have, what's available, and then DevDocs. So docs.getpara.com. Great place to just kind of get a high level sense of like what's possible with the SDKs. There's tons of docs pages on 7702 and 4337. So all of that is available to check out. And then you can also reach the team directly. So I'm on Twitter, obviously, at ADEETS_22, or Telegram with the same handle. So we're all pretty responsive and yeah, responsive to questions and things like that.
Appreciate you so much, and I can't wait to see what else comes out of the Para team in this partnership with Atrium going forward.
Awesome. Yeah, excited. I got a quick briefer on all the different projects that are building in Atrium and really excited about how everyone is thinking about DeFi more broadly, pushing the limits. I think that's been like a pretty classic trend of all the projects I've seen so far. So yeah, stoked for it.
Cool. Thanks so much, TT, and enjoy the
Thank
rest of
you.
your
You too. Thanks so much. See ya. Bye.
day.